Hey everybody, this is Perch. Here's kind of an interesting question posed. It's an email, but it's not an email. I'm not going to read you the email because it's really like two sentences, and I think I can probably paraphrase the question a little bit better for the purpose of this video to we get your comments and your feedback on it. And it basically goes like this: Why can't comic companies, but particularly DC? There's a reason why I think it actually is valuable to call it DC. Why can't comic companies seem to have more than three popular characters going at any one time? And the example, if you're kind of scratching your head on that, is take a look for a moment at DC. Because I think DC is actually a better example for this. Because DC has had, big solo books that have run for a long time. So's Marvel, but actually less. So Marvel has, you do have a Captain America, you have a Daredevil, you have a Spider-Man, but even in those, Spider-Man is kind of top tier A sales. Daredevil is always B sales. Every now and then you get a creator on it, it elevates up, but Daredevil is not at the same level as Spider-Man. Neither is Captain America. Neither is Thor. The X-Men has been a top tier title. The Avengers has mostly been a top tier title. I'm talking from like the 70s to today. Definitely, there have been eras, of course, recently, as we've all seen, where the Avengers is outselling the X-Men, or more pop. But in the general sense, even if you think about the new Avengers and when Bendis was really having his way with that book, and the X-Men was lost in a morass of is do we want to care about the Inhumans more, and it's just very different kind of style. Um, Even in that world, uh, the X Men still was a lot closer to the top of the sales than the Avengers. Or sorry, close. The Avengers was outselling it, but it was a very close race. And if you flip it to when the X Men was at the top of their game, when they had the superstar writer and marketing and everything else, there was a massive gap. But in general, DC is a more interesting company to think about because you have, the Trinity of your Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Well, of those three, Batman has sold well, and they've overdone it at times with additional titles. Superman has sold less, and Wonder Woman has sold much less. When they talk about a Trinity in terms of sales and popularity, the three are not actually at the same level. And then you throw in your Green Lantern, your Flash, so you get kind of your second run, your Aquaman. And again, we've all enjoyed issues of the Flash or Green Lantern or Aquaman. We all had our runs that we like, but if you're just talking about kind of the sheer popularity, it feels like when DC has really put all of their effort into trying to build up a title. Like when Jeff Johns was on Aquaman, you had Jeff Johns on Green Lantern. He had some top art there. Or I think Josh Howard had a good run with The Flash. Or, you'll have higher profile creators really kind of go to the limit, try and build up some of these characters. But it doesn't, they never seem to quite get to the top. Or if they do, you might have a really good high selling run of, say, Green Lantern and Batman, but they can't seem to fire on all cylinders. You don't have a top selling run on Wonder Woman at the same time or the Flash at the same time. It's like you kind of get Batman if you're DC, you get that one as a top seller, and then it's like you can get one more. It's almost as if the company's like, you only get two, so we can kind of hype up one more title, but that's it. And that's kind of the that's where it's at. Um, I think that why? If you think for a moment, you take a step back and you think about kind of when they've done big initiatives like the New 52, like DC's, ramping up to do post KO. In theory, they should be able to have 5 or 6 top selling books. By the way, I grant you, it's not like they're going to have 20 books all just blowing it out of the park, doing great, because there does start to be a money factor. You do start to get into an issue of, look, I can't, I can't pay, $5 times 20. I can't pay $100 every month for DC Comics. There's plenty of consumers who are in that boat, but you should be able to get to 5, 6 titles that are selling. You should be able to get to $30 to spend a month with with the amount of art and talent and everything else that they have on their plate, they should be able to get there. But it does seem like the companies can really only have the capacity to really get two, maybe, usually max of two top selling books at any given time. And beyond that, it just kind of falls apart. I think DC is a better example because of the characters, but we should live in a world where you have a top selling Justice League, a top selling Batman, a top selling Superman. You should be able to have those three just as a given. And then you should be able to put some big dollars around creators and marketing to get a top selling Wonder Woman or a top selling Green Lantern. And before you know it, you got like 6 or 7 books. I mean, for DC, you should be able to get to a place where you have 100,000 plus sales on Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Green Lantern, Flash, and God help us, maybe Aquaman. You should be able to do that. By the way, this is further complicated by the fact that you have the absolute lineup. And in a weird way, the absolute lineup is just repeating the same pattern, just in a whole new take. Absolute Batman selling the best. Absolute Superman second. Wonder Woman is third from all the sales I've seen. And then you have the Flash and Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter, and you have all these selling below that. And I think the sales for Wonder Woman have dipped to where I think they've been trading back and forth some of those. Anyway, that's at least the numbers I've seen. It's just mirrored the DC universe. Right now, I think we live in a DC universe where you have Batman selling well, you have Absolute Batman selling well, and then there's a gap, and then you have the rest. I'm not counting the tie-ins and KO #1 and stuff like that, but just that's the world we live in. But it does seem like with the talent available, they should be able to get higher. So I guess a couple questions for you. Number one, why? What doesn't it seem weird to you that giant companies, big companies, seem to only have the capacity to really get 2, maybe 3 books over the plate in any given month? And then the rest are, it's not like the rest are garbage sales, but they're just less, like a lot less on the whole, on the average. So that's question number one. So what would it take, could it be done? Why is this happening? And is it possible to get more than that going? And then my second question for you is, how many books reasonably can people afford a month? So if you're DC, you want the full dollar share of what's going on in comics. Is it reasonable for you to get $30 worth of comic share from a reader every single month? Okay, in comic pricing, that's roughly 6 books. Can we get? So is that our bar? Is the bar more the capacity and the ability for the companies to put stuff out, or is it your wallet? What's driving the limitation of top selling books? By the way, I'm making one big flaw in everything I'm saying. I recognize it. Not everybody likes the same thing. So it's not like you're going to have the whole population, just everyone is going to buy, Superman, Batman, Justice League. That not everybody's going to buy that because some people don't like team books. Some people don't like Superman. Some people don't like Batman. But on the whole, there should be the ability to focus on more than one title at a time or more than 2 titles at a time. And it really feels like we're stuck there. And so, and you can, by the way, if you want, address this comment for Marvel. Why can't Marvel seem to really get things going? It feels like if they get one title really going strong, everything else suffers. It's weird to me. I'm talking from a sales perspective, not from a creative perspective, but oftentimes those two are more linked than we'd like to believe. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, or don't. It's okay. You only have 6 channels you can subscribe to. Mine doesn't need to be one of them. It's totally fine. And thanks for listening.